They say when the gods want to punish a man, they first make him king. And in Umuokoro village, no one reigned higher than Chief Obele. His mansion touched the clouds. His wealth built roads. His name silenced drums. Children sang songs about his riches. Elders bowed when he passed. But no one sings his name anymore. Now, he sleeps in a broken hut near the village shrine, barefoot, forgotten, feared. How did the man who owned everything become the man who owned nothing? Was it a curse? Betrayal? Madness? Or was it something far more terrifying, a hunger so deep, even the gods choked on it? Stay with me. Because what you're about to hear is not just a story, it's a warning. A tale of power, greed, and the silent spirit that watches every man who takes more than he gives. And when the final twist comes, you will question everything you think you know about success, loyalty, and loss. This is the true story of the man who tried to own the world until the world swallowed him whole. In the heart of Umuokoro village, where red earth kissed the feet of barefoot children and palm trees danced in the wind, there lived a man whose name caused silence. Chief Obele. His compound stretched over an entire hill, like a crown above the heads of the common. His roofs were tiled with red clay from Italy. His gates were carved with gold from Ghana. His name was feared more than thunder. He wasn't just wealthy, he was power itself. But behind the laughter of his wives and the shining gloss of his jeeps, something darker whispered from the soil below. Chief Obele hadn't always been like this. Long ago, before greed dug its claws into his chest, he was admired. He built wells when the streams dried. He paid school fees when parents wept. He fed families during hunger seasons. The people called him Obele Oni Obioma, Obele, the kind-hearted one. But wealth has a strange hunger. It eats a man's joy and replaces it with thirst. Obele didn't notice it, but the land did. Umuokoro had seen many chiefs before him, but never one who made the soil uneasy. The trees bent in silence when he passed. Birds stopped singing. Obele's riches came from the land, palm oil, cocoa, and timber. His workers said the gods had blessed him. But perhaps the gods had only tested him. The more he gained, the less he gave. His barns were full, yet he stopped feeding strangers. His schools ran, but he no longer paid fees. He hoarded yams like secrets. He locked water taps in Harmattan. When widows came begging, he pointed his cane and shouted, "Am I your husband? Go to your gods." The wind carried his voice across the village, and the people started whispering. His heart has changed. Something is wrong. Then came the fence. A wall so tall, not even the moonlight could find its way in. He built it around his hilltop mansion, with broken bottles sealed into the cement like teeth. Guards with guns stood at each corner, and his dogs howled all night. He said it was for protection. But the people said it was pride. Inside, he stored rice, beans, and dried fish in warehouses so large, one could mistake them for churches. Outside, children cried from hunger. And so the land began to speak, not in words, but in signs. Little things. Rotten yams. Bitter palm wine. Obele ignored the signs. He blamed his workers. He changed suppliers. He accused enemies. But the land's patience was thinning. In Umuokoro, every tree has a spirit. Every stream has a soul. The ancestors do not sleep where greed walks loud. There is a balance, and when it is broken, something ancient awakens. They call her Mmụọ, the guardian of the land's breath. She is not cruel, but she remembers. She does not shout, but she judges. And she had begun to watch Obele. The whispers in the market grew louder. Even the gods are angry, one elder said quietly. Then one night, Obele had a dream. In it, he stood in his compound surrounded by everything he owned. Cars, barns, wives, land titles. But a wind blew. First gentle, then violent. One by one, everything flew away. His money turned to ash. His wives became statues. His house cracked down the middle. And from the broken earth rose a woman made of clay and water. She spoke no words, but her eyes glowed with fire. He woke up drenched in sweat, heart pounding. Still, he laughed it off. Nonsense. Dreams are for the poor. But that night, something had entered. The next morning, his cocoa trees bore no fruit. Every pod had shriveled overnight. It's the weather, he snapped. Then his palm oil drums began leaking. Thick red oil soaked the floors like blood. Rats chewed through his money bags, tearing naira notes into useless scraps. Still, he blamed everyone else. Lazy fools. Saboteurs. But the workers were afraid. The air in his compound had changed. It was heavier now, like morning before death. Even the dogs barked less. His wives whispered in corners. His children no longer laughed. The wind carried strange scents, ashes, salt, and something like old sorrow. One of his elders came to visit. A man named Pa Njoku, whose back was bent but whose spirit was sharp. He came with kola nuts and proverbs. Obele, he said, when a tree grows too tall, it attracts lightning. Humble yourself before the sky humbles you. But Obele threw the kola on the ground. Go and eat your poverty, old man. The elder walked away, eyes filled with sadness. He had seen this before. Many times. The rise. The arrogance. The fall. But never had he seen it happen so fast. The earth is coughing, he muttered, and Obele won't listen. More signs followed. His cocoa prices crashed overnight. A fire razed one of his timber depots without warning. One of his wives ran off with the driver. Another was found with charm under her pillow. His first son crashed a car on his way to Lagos and survived, but returned a changed man. He stopped speaking. Just stared at the walls. Someone is attacking me, Obele shouted. He went to a native doctor. Then another. Then 5 more. None could explain it. The last one said, go and ask the land. Obele spat on the floor. The land. What foolishness. In the village, things began to shift. Rain fell in patterns the farmers had never seen. Goats gave birth to stillborns. Market women complained of missing coins. People started dreaming of red rivers and silent trees. An old woman was found praying at the shrine, her hands covered in palm ash. She said Alamio had spoken to her in her sleep. She said the balance is broken. And the one who broke it must kneel. The chief priest shook his head. Obele has brought this upon us. Still, none dared tell him to his face. His pride stood taller than his fence. But even pride has limits. One night, Obele heard voices in his yard. He stepped out with his gun. Nothing. Just shadows. He ordered the guards to double watch. But by morning, one warehouse had collapsed. Crushed bags of gari lay in the mud, soaked and useless. He shouted at the workers. They stared at the ground. There was no storm, sir. It just fell. He fired all of them. Brought in new ones. But things got worse. A government official came knocking. Allegations of illegal logging. A friend betrayed him, gave up all the documents. He was fined millions. His account was frozen. His name stained. Still, Obele fought. He refused to believe it was over. He borrowed money. He mortgaged his lands. He sent his last daughter to Dubai to secure foreign investors. But nothing worked. The oil market fell. His shipments got stolen. One buyer claimed he had never received any goods. "They are lying," Obele shouted. But the truth didn't care. The land had made its judgment. And it was final. The more he ran, the tighter the news became. He grew lean. His agbada stopped fitting. His cheeks sank. But he kept smiling in public. Pride can wear perfume even when it's rotten inside. The villagers began to notice. First in whispers. Then in stares. His cars were fewer now. His parties had stopped. His laughter had turned dry. Some said he was cursed. Others said he cursed himself. But all agreed something had shifted. One day, a young boy threw a stone over Obele's fence. There was no response. The boy peeped in. No guards. No noise. Just silence. The story spread. Obele's compound is empty. Women selling okra crossed themselves. Mmụọ has spoken. Elders nodded. It has begun. But no one went close. No one dared. The silence around Obele's house was sacred now. And so the mighty man, once called king of the land, began to disappear from the center. His voice was no longer heard in village meetings. His gifts no longer came during harvest. His presence no longer commanded fear, only pity. He became a ghost among the living. And still, he did not kneel. Still, he did not return to the people. In his cracked mirror, he saw a man he didn't recognize. But he never looked too long. He couldn't face the truth. That the gods had not destroyed him. He had done it himself, one selfish decision at a time.